All right, let's jump right into a wild thought experiment. What if the seasons, that fundamental rhythm of our planet, what if they just stopped?
So, imagine this. You wake up one morning, and something just feels off, wrong. There's this weird stillness in the air. You check the calendar, it says April, but when you look outside, it looks and feels exactly like it did in March. Exactly like it did yesterday, and the day before that.
All those little signs you take for granted, they're gone. The trees aren't budding. The birds that show up every single year, like clockwork, they're just not there. It's like the air itself is frozen in time. Summer never comes. Autumn never comes. Winter never comes.
The crazy part is, the calendar keeps changing for us, but for the Earth, it's like someone hit a giant pause button. Just like that, overnight, the world has lost its seasons. And the reason why is, well, it's surprisingly simple, and it's built right into how our planet works.
So, to really get why this is such a catastrophe, we have to zoom in on this one tiny, absolutely crucial detail about our planet that, honestly, we all totally take for granted.
Yep, that's it. A 23.5-degree tilt. That little wobble is everything. As we go around the sun, it means different parts of the planet get their turn to face the sun more directly. That's summer, that's winter. But in our scenario, poof, that tilt is gone. Earth is now spinning perfectly straight up and down.
And this right here is the key. Seasons are so much more than just weather. They're literally the planet's heartbeat. That constant shifting, that rhythm, it drives everything, from ocean currents to the life cycles of every living thing. And now, without that tilt, that heartbeat is gone. The planet's still moving, sure, but its rhythm has just flatlined.
And when a planet's heart stops beating, well, the consequences start almost immediately. It kicks off this massive chain reaction that's going to unravel the entire biosphere.
At first, people might actually love it. Can you imagine? No more brutal winters, no more scorching summers. But that celebration wouldn't last long. By month 3, farmers are starting to panic. Their crops, which have spent thousands of years evolving to respond to seasonal cues, are just lost. They don't know what to do. And by the end of that first year, with plants not blooming and harvest failing, the first quiet global food shortages begin. And there's nothing anyone can do to stop it.
And this is where things really spiral into a full-blown catastrophe. It's like a line of dominoes. The first one to fall, the seasonal cues just vanish. That directly knocks over the next one. Agriculture completely collapses. Then that triggers the next one. Animal migrations just stop. And what happens when they stop? The final domino falls. Entire food chains begin to unravel.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Billions of years of evolution have basically programmed animals to act based on the seasons, and now, all of a sudden, that instruction manual has been deleted. Birds are waiting for a signal to fly south that's never going to come. Fish are waiting for the water to warm up so they can spawn, but it never does. The whole natural world is just confused. It's chaos.
So what's the result of all this chaos? Well, a few species might get lucky and adapt, but most, no chance. Within just a couple of decades, we see an extinction rate that skyrockets, faster than anything since the dinosaurs were wiped out. We're talking over 90% of all species on Earth, just gone, vanished, because they couldn't cope in a world that never changes.
And it's not just life that's in trouble. The planet's climate system itself is basically seizing up. It's locking into place, creating a new, permanent, and much, much harsher reality. See, seasons are like a giant reset button for the weather every year. Without that reset, weather patterns get stuck. So a rainy region, it just becomes a place of constant, endless flooding. A dry region, it enters a permanent, unbreakable drought. Storms form and then they just sit there for weeks, dumping all their rain in one spot. The planet can't balance itself anymore. It's just frozen into these zones of permanent extremes.
So, where does that leave humanity in all this? Well, we survive. But our civilization has to completely reinvent itself to deal with this new, totally unforgiving world.
The world basically gets split in two. You've got these tiny temperate zones that are now stable, predictable paradises. But then you have the rest of the planet, the vast majority, which is now completely unlivable. We're talking about billions of people being forced to move from the new flood zones, or the new drought zones, or the new frozen zones. It would be the biggest refugee crisis in the history of humankind, by far.
And this is maybe the biggest shift of all. Our entire relationship with the planet changes. We're no longer living with nature's cycles. We're now in a constant fight against a static, hostile environment. Humanity would be huddled in these fortified cities, trying desperately to engineer the stability that nature used to just give us for free. So, fast forward a few centuries. The chaos dies down, Earth finds a new, stable equilibrium. But in that new quiet, scientists realize something deeply haunting about what was actually lost that day.
Sure, the new Earth is stable, but it's also empty. It's quieter. There are fewer species, less complex ecosystems. The vibrant, chaotic, beautiful dance of life has been replaced by something much simpler, much flatter. The planet, in a very real sense, is less alive.
And that's when it hits everyone. The big, crucial takeaway. We always thought seasons were just a feature, just about the weather. We were so wrong. They were a core survival mechanism for the entire planet.
But why? How could that be? Well, because that constant change, that cycle of hard times and good times, it prevented any one system from just sitting still and getting weak. It forced everything to adapt, to become flexible, to be resilient. The chaos of the seasons? Turns out, that was the very thing that made the web of life so strong.
And that's the ultimate irony, isn't it? In this world that finally has perfect predictability, perfect stability, the planet didn't become safe. It became fragile. It became brittle. One new shock to the system, like a new disease, and the whole thing could shatter because it's lost its ability to bend and recover.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Maybe the most important feature of our world isn't stability at all. Maybe it's the constant, beautiful, and absolutely necessary state of change. And that leaves us with one last, kind of unsettling question to chew on.
If you're the kind of person who loves exploring impossible futures and hidden truths, subscribe. This channel is built for you.